This is World Comics Review, and this, or at least this if my video editing software does what I hope it will do, is Den Town, which is Osaka's version of Akihabara, which is like the otaku district of Tokyo. And this is bar 87 or 78, I can't remember the name, and my camera didn't capture this sign. But anyway, I went to that bar a while back and saw a pretty interesting anime playing on the TV in there. Now, I'm not really interested in anime, but a lot of them are based on manga, so I asked the guy and he told me it was called High Score Girl. And I've discovered that High Score Girl has come out in English, so here it is, the first two. So, it's kind of interesting. This is the High Score Girl herself, Akira Ono, who doesn't actually speak at all over the two volumes. There we are. He was playing the anime without sound, so yeah. Anyway, so it's fairly rare for a manga in that it's set in the recent past. They're often set in modern times or back in like the samurai times or just fantasy worlds. It's not really common to get one that was set kind of elsewhere in the 20th century, or at least outside of World War II anyway. So this is set in 1991, when the 16-bit video game era, and this is our main guy, Haruo Yaguchi, who considers himself a kind of hardcore fighting game champion. Only it turns out that Akira Ono is completely defeating him, and she's like the honor roll student, or whatever you call it, the top of the class student with a really rich family, which makes you wonder why she's going to the same school as him, but whatever. And yeah, she's completely crushing him on is this Street Fighter? Yeah, one of the Street Fighters, probably the first Street Fighter 2. And he decides to try and defeat her by using cheap tactics. So she kicks the opposite machine. Oh yeah, I should explain that in a lot of Japanese arcades, the versus fighting games are actually two separate machines that are opposite each other. So yeah, she kicks the machine that makes him hit him in the stomach, and then runs around and punches him. And that's where I actually started seeing the anime, so that's actually the first chapter. And yeah, it kind of like oh yeah, and he likes to play video games in this traditional sweet shop, which is run by an old lady, and they have some video game machines outside as well. And he sees Akira Ono beating the game, even though the round thing off the joystick and several of the buttons are missing, she's still winning the game. So yeah, they are at I think 6th grade, which is the last year of elementary school in Japan, which I think is ages 11 to 12. So yeah, it's like a young experimental romance. Oh yeah, and he plays video games too much and doesn't study, so the teacher is crazy. So yeah, it goes on. Various chapters about him and Ono having a rivalry. His Ono's rich family keep dragging her back from the arcade to have English lessons and piano lessons and whatever. Yeah, they're hanging out at the sweet shop run by the crazy old lady, and she's always she kicks them out if they just hang out there and don't actually play the games or buy sweets. So yeah, just back and forth chapters about their rivalry, beginning friendship, whatever, fighting game rivalry. Oh yeah, and he gets sick because she threw cold water on him, and he's at home thinking, oh, I can play video games all day because I'm at home, but he's actually sick, so he can't play his ulterior motive. And Ono comes to visit him at home to bring him the schoolwork. And his mum is thinking, oh, my son's got a girlfriend, so she's going to spy on them. And she's sticks to the ceiling as well, like a demon. And yeah, he has a PC Engine, which is kind of a rare but more arcade accurate console in Japan, and he's like waxing lyrical about his amazing console. She can't play video games at home because her family won't let her waste her time with things like that, and he wants to have a PC Engine GT, which is the portable PC Engine, or the CD PC Engine, which is CD games are like only just starting back then in Japan. They didn't make it to Europe till years later, I think like 1994. So yeah, they another creepy, weird chapter. They go through a haunted forest. They get to the Skeleton Arcade, which is like a haunted arcade with retro games like the original Street Fighter. And every game is only 10 yen, so he thinks, oh, that's really super cheap. But when he comes back another time, it turns out it's actually been closed down since the 80s. So yeah, it was haunted, and they went and played ghost games. And blah blah blah, carrying on. We go to a fun fair. So another character, another funny character, Onizuka-san, the weird, ugly girl who wants to know if a boner has an actual bone inside. Yeah, there's an arcade at the fun fair. They're continuing to hang out, and yeah, Ono is going to move to the USA, and everyone bought her presents, but Haruo didn't buy her a present and says he forgot. She takes off for the USA, and it turns out his mum gave him 1,000 yen to get a present, but he decided to just play video games instead. Then he has a last minute romantic dash to the airport to see her, but it cost him his 1,000 yen to get the train ticket to the airport, so the only thing he can give her is a really crappy plastic ring out of a grabbing machine from the arcade, and she considers that their engagement ring. And this book has some extra chapters. I've seen the Japanese editions. There's one called High Score Girl Continue, and I swear I've seen these chapters in it. So in Japan, these bonus extra chapters were in a separate book, but in the English language release they're included in the main book, so I suppose we're doing alright. Anyway, just going to the arcade, and how his mother spied on him. She's like climbing up the wall, and then she can walk on the ceiling because she learned ninja tactics, I think she said. She's from Iga Prefecture, which is where ninja come from. Anyway, that's Volume 1. Volume 2, created by Rensuke Oshigiri. I don't know if that's writer and artist, or maybe the writer and artist have made themselves out to be one person with a combined name. Jumps to 1993. And now he's in the second grade of junior high, which is ages, 13 to 14. The J League, the FA Cup of Japan starts. Many versions of Street Fighter 2 come out, and there's a challenger appears. This is Koharu Hidaka, who also likes him, but he only likes video games, so she wants to date him, but he just talks about video games. And her dad runs a liquor store, alcohol shop, but he can't make money from children running such a shop, so he buys arcade machines and puts them outside, and Haruo is just like, oh well, you've got arcade machines at home, that's so cool. And he got his PC Engine GT, and he gets detention because it's against the rules of their school to go to arcades in your school uniform, and he keeps doing it, so he gets detention, but he smuggled in his PC Engine GT to play Street Fighter 2 in class. And Koharu waits for him even though it's snowing. And over winter time she waits in her room thinking, I'm going to ignore him because I don't like him, but really she does like him. But you know what young romance is like. And yeah, she's sitting at her bedroom window looking out, and he's playing video games outside in the freezing cold all day. It gets to the new year. No, not yet. Oh, it gets to the new year, and she thinks she's going to get to date him for the new year, but he's just going, well, this video game shop has a New Year sale and you can get PC Engine cards for 50 yen. Oh no, yeah, he got her a present and she gets sick and he got her a present, but it's just a game magazine. Actually, when I was a kid and our school had a sponsored walk, he walked about 23 miles and it raised money for the school, and our mum gave us about £5 each so we could get snacks from a shop halfway round the walk. My brother got a video game magazine and then was whinging that he was hungry. And yeah, playing Mortal Kombat, and oh yeah, Koharu even has no interest in video games, so she just randomly button mashes and somehow beats Mortal Kombat 2, and even pulls off a fatality, and she's like, that was cool. And Haruo is still thinking, I'm gonna improve my skills, so when Ono comes back from America I can beat her. And oh yeah, he wins at Mortal Kombat 2 with cheap tactics, and the guy he's playing against tries to fight him for real, but instead of fighting they just pull each other's clothes. And yeah, I teach Japanese elementary schoolers, so I've seen that myself plenty of times. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so more young romance back and forths with Koharu. His mum spies on them again. And then Ono comes back from America, but her... Oh, and yeah, they're going to... have I got this completely wrong? Right, I think they either enter second or third grade of junior high, and he smuggles in a Game Boy on the first day to play it in class, and he's like, oh, a Game Boy is not a real hardcore game machine, it's just a toy, so that shouldn't even count as playing video games in school. And yeah, carrying on, Ono comes back and somehow he completely misses Ono for his first day. It's the first day she comes back to school. He takes Koharu to a really kind of rough arcade, and if people get beaten they throw the ashtrays at people. Blah blah blah. Then he hears about a girl a little girl in the arcade who is super good, and he's like, who is that? Oh yeah, she wins 104 times, and it's like, oh, it's Ono, she's back. And that re-kicks off their experimental young romance. They're playing the game together again, playing video games together. Then the family butler comes and drags her back. You've got to do your tea ceremony lesson and your calligraphy lesson and your whatever other lessons. And she's still got their crappy plastic, what she thinks is an engagement ring. And this one's got some pretty funny extra chapters. So this is set during the time of Volume 1, when Ono's still there. They go to play a Kujibiki, which is a Japanese religious festival game, where there's loads of strings poking out, and each string is attached to a prize, and he gets 3 crappy plastic whistles. But it's like grand prizes, like a twin Famicom, which has a disc drive and a cartridge slot, and a Super Famicom, which is the big new console of the time. And Ono's rich, so he's like, can you just buy a ticket for every string and pull them all to see if they really are actually attached to the prizes? But she just tries one and wins the Super Famicom. But her family won't let her keep a game machine, so she gives it to him, and then his mum goes crazy like, how did you afford a game console? And this is a Volume 2 set chapter where Koharu is dating him again, but he goes to a video game tournament to win a Super Famicom, and he's been practicing Street Fighter 2 at home, but he's been practicing with the arcade style stick, so when he gets to the tournament they're using the standard controllers. And he thinks, oh, if I win I'll give Koharu the Super Famicom, because I don't need another one. But the kid before him changed the control setup, so he ends up coming second in a tournament and getting a model of a water mill instead. So he gives that to her, and she thinks, oh well, he must like me because he gave me a present, but actually it's just because he doesn't want a model kit of a water mill. And another mini chapter about the perverted girl with the weird lips. Oh yeah, she puts on lots of makeup to try and look good. Oh yeah, and in their junior high, this is like the teacher who patrols the arcade to make sure none of the kids are playing video games. And yeah, he's Chinese and for some reason is dressed in a traditional Chinese outfit, but he starts playing a video game, starts playing Virtua Fighter, and he gets addicted to playing Virtua Fighter, and he's like, oh well, I'm up against someone really good, and it turns out it's his daughter, who he should get mad at for playing video games. Oh yes, right, next chapter, 1994, is a junior high grade 3, which is ages 14 to 15. So yeah, whenever volume 3 comes out, it might be out already. The shop with the biggest stock of English language books in Osaka still doesn't have that big a stock. And they just they only put random ones out when there's space. So they had volume 1 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and then volume 2, and then they put volume 1 out again, and no one's buying it, so they probably got volume 3 in a back room, which I want to buy, but no one's buying the other copy of volume 1, so they haven't put any other books out. So yeah, if anyone lives in Osaka, go to, what's it called, the one under the Hankyu station, and buy volume 1 please, because I want volume 3. Right, so yeah, that's High Score Girl. A pretty entertaining manga if you're into retro games, or just manga that aren't about people getting magic powers and fighting demons and monsters and yokai as they're called in Japan. Just everyday settings.